A quiet life in the mountains might not be such a bad idea, you know.
No. I've made up my mind.
Hello everybody, I'm InTheLittleWood, also known as Martin, and welcome to a very different kind of video today. I've never really done one like this. Today there was a load of information and a load of screenshots provided by Bandai Namco in regards to Ni No Kuni 2. So with that stuff combined with the two trailers that we have so far, we're starting to get a really nice makeup of what the world of Ni No Kuni is going to look like in the second title. So I asked on Twitter when I retweeted it and was like, oh my god, if people wanted to see like a little bit of a breakdown video or a little bit of an analysis video of the stuff that we've got so far, and everyone was just like, yes, 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 because at the moment I get asked on a daily basis if I'm going to be doing a let's play of the second game, and of course I am. It's probably my favorite let's play I've ever done on this channel. So let's get into it. From Bandai Namco's Twitter today, they posted this. So this is one of 4 images that they had inside of the post. So it says Ni No Kuni 2 will be available in 2017 on PlayStation 4, and then this is the really exciting bit, and for the first time on PC. What? It's coming to PC, like, at launch, I'm hoping. I hope there's no stupid delay, because being able to play it on PC means that I can capture it easier. Just life is going to be so much better. I'm probably still going to play it with a controller, just because it feels like the kind of game that would benefit from that. But, oh my god, I'm so excited about this. So, we've finally gotten the names for the 3 different characters. We obviously already knew Evan was the king, because he says it in the trailer. I think he even says his full name. It's like Evan Pettywhisker Tildrum, his name is. And he is the former king of Ding Dong Dell, so he's the one over here with the blonde hair and the sort of like Final Fantasy Makote ears. And then we've got Tani or Tani or I don't know how it's pronounced. It's probably going to be different however I do it. I'm going to go for Tani for now. There's Tani as well. So Tani is actually an orphan that was raised by sky pirates, and she's a bit of like a tomboy character, and she's particularly good at ranged abilities, where Evan is kind of a mix of the two. Tani is going to be your range attack person, and then we've got the other character over here who we're going to see some nice artwork of in a minute, but he is called Roland, and he actually comes from the same world that Oliver came from in the first Ni No Kuni game. So if you weren't aware as well, this game is actually set before the events of the first Ni No Kuni game, so it's actually a prequel title. And what's interesting about Roland as well is this guy is 48 years old. Now the reason he doesn't look it in the game is I'm assuming that when he comes over to this world, somehow his age gets reverted a little bit. He sort of looks about 20-ish, or maybe sort of 25 in all of the stuff that we've seen so far. And they've actually said, the developers have said that he kind of brings the maturity to the game. He's almost there because he's a president in the other world. He's almost here to teach Evan how to become a proper ruler, a proper king, because he only became the king of Ding Dong Dell when he was a lot younger because his father passed away. And that's the kind of the big common trend throughout the entirety of Ni No Kuni 2 by the looks of it. There's a huge emphasis on the kingdom builder, which I think is not only sort of the plot line and then wanting to build an entirely new place for people to inhabit, but there's actually going to be gameplay mechanics and almost like a separate builder. I don't know how it's going to play out or what it looks like just yet, but I'm really excited to find that one out. Let's go on to picture number 2. Let's see what we've got. All right, so we got we got this guy here. He is massive and he is called Thog. So he's just one of the large familiars, although this is where we need to talk about this. There might not be familiars in Ni No Kuni 2. And by that I mean because we're the ones doing the combat for the most part, and we also have the help of these little guys over here, which are called the Higgledies, and they come in various different types of elements, I'm guessing. So you've got like regular, fire, earth, water, all that sort of stuff. They seem to be taking the place of the vast like array of different familiar characters. Now I don't know if this is because they didn't like that combat system last time, or if they don't exist in this world yet. Maybe familiars weren't a thing back in this time in the world of Ni No Kuni, but I've got to say I'm kind of disappointed by it. I actually quite enjoyed the balance in the last game of making sure that you had the right types of familiars and that you leveled them up and sort of like almost like exploring and catching them just like Pokemon. I get the feeling that we're going to only grab these Higgledies from like story events. So when you go and do a particular quest line, or once you get to a certain point in the story, it will be almost like a plot point and a narrative point where you get given the fire ones and this, that and the other. And by the looks of it at the moment, you can probably probably have about 10 of each on the field. I'm assuming maybe it's one element per character, because that seems to line up quite nicely. So maybe it's going to be 10 higgledies per person, and obviously in a separate menu you can assign the elements to each player. And then in the bottom right corner over here, you can see we've got the L1 and R1 buttons. I'm assuming those are going to be special abilities, because they did talk about how the higgledies are going to have elemental like damage. So as well as regular attacks, they're probably going to be able to do some kind of like mass attack, almost like an ultimate or a special that's going to do like huge amounts of damage to the enemies for you. So screenshot number 3 of 4 is an interesting one. So the different elements that you can get of the higgledies also have real world application as well. So outside of combat, they've said that they're going to actually be able to use them in order to get to locations that you couldn't reach before, or you currently couldn't. So you can see the little higgledy just sneaking into the bottom of the frame there, and he's obviously a wind one or an air elemental one, and he's managed to throw Evan up onto the ledge at the top, which I think is actually pretty cool. Now, this is the one that I'm not crazy about. I'm really not overly keen on the 3D render art style for the overworld in Ni No Kuni 2. It just reminds me too much of other Squeenix titles, other Bandai Namco titles. I actually found it really charming the way that they used the artwork, so the style was consistent continually. I really liked it, and I don't like that they've gone to this like World of Final Fantasy overworld sort of look. It's not my cup of tea. So now we move on over to the Facebook page, where they've gone and posted a ton more images. So this has been up for quite a while now. When they did the first reveal on the first trailer, this was the image that they had uploaded, just so they could have it as the sort of like the channel banner art. We've got another overworld piece, so you can see we've got Evan, Tanny, and also Roland chilling out there as well. And I'm assuming that is a mob. Like, it's really hard to make out exactly what it is, but I like to think that they're going to stick with the old game in terms of having mobs on the overworld and things that you can go up against. And it's this post here that kind of confirms my suspicions about the combat system, and from the little gameplay pieces that we've seen so far as well. So that caption says, combat takes a new dimension in Ni No Kuni 2, where you'll jump directly into battle with our heroes. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still not feeling it. I'm still not feeling that whole, like, doing stuff vibe. This is a demonstration of Tanny being the one doing the ranged attacks from quite far out. Roland bringing the maturity to the group with the sword and the gun. So I like that he's kind of got a bit of both. He can do a little bit of range, but he's not going to be quite as effective as Tanny. And then, of course, Evan is the mixed bag of them. So I mentioned a second ago about the fact that I hope there are mobs on the overworld in Ni No Kuni. And the reason I brought that up is because this post here, the way it's worded, makes it seem like you're only going to find them when you're inside of each of the sort of the roaming areas, because it says Cloud Coil Canyon is a desertic region where the main quest of the game will proceed. In these areas, enemies are now roaming the land and will engage in combat. So maybe that's not going to be a thing. Maybe on the overworld now you're not going to have to try and like run around any of the enemies. So we'll see how that plays out. Oh, look, there he is, stood atop the mountain. I like these guys. I actually find the higgledies quite charming, and from the little bits and pieces that I've read in articles, apparently the higgledies really do bring a sense of like character and humor into the game. I'm assuming they're going to apply that same sort of physical comedy that you would get from something like Minions. I also like as well the fact that they look very similar, but they've got those slight differences in terms of the coloring or the way that their almost like antenna is shaped. That makes it very like distinguishable between the different elements. You're never going to mistake them, but you can tell that they're all higgledies on first sight, because they kind of remind me from Princess Mononoke. You know, they sort of the clacky head ones. It reminds me a little bit of those. And because we just mentioned Princess Mononoke, I think it's a little bit important to talk about Studio Ghibli's involvement with this new title. So from what I've read and what I've seen, Ghibli seem to be on a bit of a hiatus at the moment. They've kind of got most projects on hold, but they do have some really key people that are still involved with Level 5 on the development of this game. So they've got the composer from the last title. They've got Joe Hisaishi, I want to say his name is pronounced. He's involved with the project. And then what makes me really excited is the fact that we might still get some cutscenes, because we've got animator Yoshiyuki Momose. I think that's how you pronounce it, probably butchered it, but he is also involved with the project, so fingers crossed we're still going to get some of those animated cutscenes. And then other than that, on the Facebook page you've got some like art of Evan, some slightly nicer art of Evan, which looks more like it would belong inside of the Wizard's Companion. Got Roland, we have got Roland again, he's sort of cropped out a little bit on this video, my bad. We've got Tanny, and we've also got Tanny again. And then we have the ever familiar Ding Dong Dell. So the caption on this one's quite cool, because it tells us a little bit about the name of the antagonist of the game, or at least one of the antagonists. So it says, Ding Dong Dell, once a peaceful place where cat, mouse, and human folk all lived together. The cat folk were banished from the kingdom following a coup masterminded by Minister Mausinger. So that's spelled Mausinge. So I can only assume that he is the one in the trailer that says, bow before your new king, or bow before the king of Ding Dong Dell. We'll watch it in a minute and you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. It's got all his troops in front of him as well, but all of this place is giving me some proper nostalgia from when I played the first title. Looks so cool. We've never quite seen the Ding Dong Dell castle from this angle before as well. I never realized how like greenhousey it was. And here they are, the little beings known as the Higgledies. So I'm trying to guess the elements here. I'm guessing like we've got fire, water, air, earth, sun, solar. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe that's like light and dark. That would probably be my best guess on those two. And then, of course, you've got Earth as well and a couple more water dudes hanging about. But they look wonderfully playful and wonderfully silly. I'm really excited. So the caption reads, the beings known as the Higgledies come from the power of the heart, a power which is found within people, animals, and elements such as fire and water. And then this line here could lead to so many funny little moments where it says, only those with pure hearts can see them. I just like the idea that somebody who's got like a bit of darkness in their heart, or they've, you know, had their heart taken away, they can't see these little guys and things are just moving by themselves. I just imagine these guys just making all kinds of trouble, like, because nobody can see them. But anyway, he says the Higgledies will lend Evan their support throughout his journey, helping him in battle and letting him reach places he otherwise wasn't be able to get to. So there you go, that's where I grabbed that bit of info from. So following this massive information dump today, I went back and watched some of the trailers, and I completely missed it the first time, the fact that it's pretty standard now in a Ni No Kuni game for your mum to die. She literally dies in, like, I'm assuming the first, like, half an hour of the game, because at this point they're still in the sewer system of the castle of Ding Dong Dell.
You'll be a wonderful king.
Bless him.
I know you will.
Every time.
But how?
Every time.
How can I?
So obviously at that point, Roland has already joined the world of Ni No Kuni and has already somehow managed to get his way into the castle. I'm assuming it's going to be in a similar fashion to Ollie, where he has no clue what's going on. So he just goes to a place of importance to try and get some kind of like guidance. And then obviously we have the moment where we learn about some of the other antagonists of the game. So not just Mausinger, there's another serpenty type of one as well.
But Guardians are meant to protect things, not destroy them.
I'm not feeling that familiar.
Something tells me it's not doing this by
It looks
choice.
a little bit 3D, that 2D world. Look, there we go. That guy right there, I reckon he's going to be causing us all kinds of problems. Yeah, that's an evil. And then there's this thing, so I don't know if this is just one huge, humongous spoiler, and you might be really annoyed that I've gone and pointed this out, but initially, I always thought this clip was from the beginning of the game, and this was like Evan when he was a little wee babby child, and his dad had just passed away, and he'd just become the king of Ding Dong Dell.
Where
but look,
everyone
he goes
can
through
live
there,
happily ever
and then
after.
suddenly, he's the king. Now, the reason I find this odd is because of this. So, when you look at this, you think, oh, this is just from his past when he's younger. No, because Roland's over there, you've got Tanny over there, and then you've got this guy here as well, who, when they were building the new kingdom, this dude, like, pledged his allegiance to him. So, is that just their way of saying, yeah, like, none of those characters are going to die in this game? You're cool. And then we got this guy. I'm just going to call him Stupid Dogface, because at the moment, I really don't like him. He wants to raise the taxes in whatever town he seems to have, like, you know, ownership over. I think this may also be the same place where that Guardian jumps up onto the top left-hand side, the massive dragon that is controlled by the Serpentine guy. So it'll be interesting to see how these bad guys sort of overlap and how the story sort of intertwines. And I've just noticed it there. Look at that. My sapling swirl just reversed. Now, given that this game is set before the events of the first Ni No Kuni game, all of this technology here looks insane, as well as this guy. He looks absolutely freaking nuts.
It will change the world.
Now, what I find interesting here is I've been a little bit worried about Drippy not being in the second game. And I think a lot of other people have had the same worry. I don't know if they're just going to completely forsake Drippy because it doesn't fit in with the timeline, but he's a fairy. He could be like hundreds of years old. I don't care. But I noticed in this clip, which I can only assume is in the forest that's nearby Ding Dong Dell, there's this little critter. this little guy right here is walking along with Evan and the gang. So I'm wondering if he's going to be like a proper Welsh tidy man sort of guy. I really hope he is. I really, really hope there's a character like that in this. I don't want it all to be based on higgledies who can't speak and just have very physical comedy. And then we meet this lovely old lady. I don't know where she's from or what her name is, but I get the feeling that she's the one who gives us our very first higgledies. I'm assuming the air element is the first one that you acquire.
Take my little darlings with you, of course.
So good. Oh, and here he is, stupid Minister Mausinger. This is the guy that I was trying to tell you about. Have a little look at this.
Before the king of Ding Dong Down.
Oh, he bad. He's bad. Don't like him. But the lie may yet return. And then this is where you start to see the beginnings of the kingdom builder, and still that little dude is there. So going back a little bit to the kingdom builder, I'm really intrigued to find out how we're gonna, one, build the kingdom. Like, is this gonna be a resource system thing? Is it gonna be a story-based thing, so it just builds slowly over time? How customizable is the kingdom gonna be? How do you recruit people to come and live in your kingdom or come and work for you? I'd like to think that it's not gonna be a resource gathering hall. Like, I'm assuming you don't have to go around and click on a million bushes and hit a load of mindstone like it's some kind of MMO. I'd like to think that you acquire resources just from doing the story as you are, and I'd also like to think that you acquire citizens by helping them with side quests, because that would be a really good way of kind of pushing people to do a little bit more of that rather than just charging through the whole main story. And then if you do happen to do all of those, what kind of benefits do you get from your kingdom being massive? Does that bleed into your character being able to buy better items if you get a cool blacksmith in your city? I don't know. There are so many possibilities for it, for armorers, alchemists, magic shops, all that sort of stuff. So there it is, Ni No Kuni 2, The Revenant Kingdom, coming soon. There's still no release date. They've shown off this information, and still there is as much information as that. All they've said is it's 2017 and nothing else. But the fact that they're starting to share screenshots, starting to share plot points and characters and backgrounds and stuff like that, makes me think that it can't be too far away. I don't see it coming out in the holiday season. I'd really, really like to see this come out probably sometime between, let's say, May and August. Let's go for a summer release, guys. That'd be really, really cool. So there's just a couple of little bits of rambling and sort of some speculation around Ni No Kuni 2. What do you reckon to the game so far? Let me know in the comment section what you're liking the look of, what you're not liking the look of, what do you want from the game, and also what would you want to carry through to this game from the previous one? If you want to go ahead and bullet point your comments with literally 1, 2, 3, 4 and your like answer in a sentence after each one, that'll make it a lot easier for me to read. And yeah, I guess as soon as I know any more about Ni No Kuni 2, I will be straight on that. I'm actually going to go upstairs now and ask our guy at Yog Towers to email Bandai Namco, like, so when can we get our first hands on with the game, huh? Any demos, anything? But nothing really came of that last time. They literally just sent a copy and that's all they said. But maybe because the first one was a success, they're going to be a little bit more forthcoming with this one, but we can cross our fingers and hope. But thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a like on it if you enjoyed it and watched this far. It means that you're just as into the idea as this as I am, and the more likes this gets, the more I know you guys want to see a full Let's Play of the game when it comes out at some point this year. So have an awesome one, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!